NBC Connecticut News at 6.
The future of the Hartford Baseball Stadium could be decided tonight. The City Council is set to vote on the plan for the ballpark.
But with big questions about the cost of the Downtown North project, it is far from a sure thing. NBC Connecticut's Jamie Ratliff live in Hartford with the latest. Jamie.
Well, Keisha and Jerry, the City Council is considering 3 resolutions tonight regarding the development of Downtown North, and city officials say if they're approved, you'll soon see construction begin. It's been hotly contested since the beginning, and tonight we'll find out yes or no if the Rockettes will move to Hartford and if the city will get a brand new minor league stadium.
This is new growth, new development. This is things that helps change the nature and character of the city and helps bring some life and vitality back downtown.
While many agree Downtown North needs development, there's not a lot of consensus on how to do it. For months, protesters have let city leaders know they want no part of another sports stadium, and residents we spoke with say they have mixed feelings about the proposal.
They're spending a lot of money on the park, but there's a lot of other things that need to be fixed around the city as well. So I'm a little torn about that.
This is going to take a long time to be built up, you know? Why don't they keep it on your brain like always?
The plan for the area includes commercial and residential buildings as well as the ballpark. And if approved tonight, officials say the project begins picking up speed.
Then we have to finalize the contracts with the developers and the ball team, and the project starts construction. It's a very aggressive schedule. We'd expect construction to start in the new year.
And the public comment period has already begun. Immediately following that at 7 is when the City Council meeting starts. We'll have a full wrap on that as well as reaction coming up tonight at 11. For now, we're live in Hartford. Jamie Ratliff, NBC Connecticut News. Jerry.
Thanks, Jamie. Breaking news on a deadly crash on I-95 in Waterford this weekend. A second child has died. State police say 9-year-old Sanaa Reynolds of Meriden was in the car that was struck by a tractor trailer. Another child was also killed. 2 adults from the car remain hospitalized. The crash is still under investigation.
Good evening, everybody. It felt like summer across parts of Connecticut today. You're looking at our HD sky cam atop Avon Mountain, showing a partly to mostly cloudy sky, showing beautiful foliage. Your first alert forecast as we go forward overnight. Those low clouds will yield some mist and some fog later tonight. But look at these summer-type temperatures all night long, between 60 and 65 degrees with a southerly wind of 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're in the warm air once again during the day tomorrow. This is the cold front. This is the warm side of it. We will be on the warm side of it again during tomorrow. Temperatures way up into the 70s once more. And then on Thursday, the front is going to be sort of right on us with a tropical connection coming straight up from the Bahamas. So I do expect a fairly substantial rain coming in during Thursday. We'll time it. We'll talk about that. Your full first alert forecast is coming up.
Thanks, Brad. Taxes are back in the spotlight in the race for governor. Last month, it was Republican Tom Foley's taxes that came under fire. Now it's Governor Malloy facing tax questions, and it all centers around the house in Stamford he rented after being elected. NBC Connecticut political reporter Max Reese live in Rocky Hill with the story. Max.
Hey, good evening there, Keisha. Yeah, the campaign event for Tom Foley ended just moments ago, and the issue of Governor Dan Malloy's taxes has come up once again. This time, it has to do with this rental income he earned on his old home, whether he paid enough or anything on tax. That's what Tom Foley is talking about.
Governor Dan Malloy recently sold his home in Stamford, but questions loom about when he rented that property and whether he paid the taxes on about $200,000 in income.
Well, at least I included everything in my summary that all my income. Apparently failed to include income on a summary he provided, $180,000.
The governor, who spoke at a school in Hartford Tuesday, defended himself. He said the deductions that led to just less than $2,000 in paid taxes were what any Connecticut resident would claim.
These are the same deductions that you claim on your own home when you live in it. For instance, property taxes and a mortgage, as well as other expenses that go into the base of your house.
He also took the opportunity to criticize his GOP opponent, who only recently released some tax documents but wouldn't allow the press to make copies.
I've paid an effective tax rate of 25%. We don't know what tax rate he ever paid, but we know over the last 2 years he paid 0.
Tom Foley did release those 3 years worth of tax filings. He also told us that he filed an extension for his 2013 filings. When we asked him earlier today whether he would release those before the election next month, he said he hadn't thought about it yet. Reporting live in Rocky Hill, Max Reese, NBC Connecticut News.
Max, thank you. The state's Democratic Party is accused of trying to get around Connecticut's campaign finance laws. Two elections groups say the party used money for federal races to pay for a mailer benefiting Governor Malloy's reelection. Now, the party says it was part of a get out the vote effort. The Federal Election Commission has been asked to weigh in on that issue. And stay with NBC Connecticut on air and online for continuing coverage of all the candidates as we get closer to Election Day. And join us Sunday morning at 10 for our weekly political show, Decision 2014.
The next time you drive on I-84 through West Hartford, you'll see some changes. The DOT just installed more than 30 signs and traffic indicators along the highway's S-curves. The bright fluorescent signs warn you to slow down. They were put up after 2 serious accidents. State police are also stepping up patrols. Now take a live look at I-84 in Hartford. This is one of the busiest stretches of road in the state, as you can see. It's been long overdue for a major makeover, and now engineers are looking for the public's input on the best way to go about it. NBC Connecticut's Deborah Bogsty has the new developments.
I-84 in Hartford, a traffic nightmare for many drivers and a headache for residents. Now, the state DOT is in the beginning stages of planning to redesign the highway, which handles 175,000 vehicles a day. Engineers held this community forum Tuesday to get input from city residents and businesses. Jackie McKinney lives in Hartford's Asylum Hill neighborhood.
It separated the city. And the attempt in doing this will be to reconnect the city in certain spots.
Many here want the redesign to reconnect North Hartford with downtown. Ideas for doing that include lowering the highway or even burying part of it underground. Principal engineer Rich Armstrong says that could include relocating railroad tracks that now run under the highway.
We're trying to see how we can minimize the visual impact of the highway.
Armstrong says another idea would ease congestion by moving all exits to the right rather than leaving some on the left. The project carries a steep price tag.
We're looking at about $3.4 to $5.4 billion very preliminarily.
At this point, city officials have high hopes the redesign will benefit the city.
I think it's very important that in looking at the redevelopment of the Interstate 84 that we take into consideration the needs not only of the people who travel on the road, but the impact it has on the city and how we reconnect the city and reconnect our city neighborhoods.
The DOT says construction here likely won't begin for 8 to 10 years, if not longer. They're planning to hold a public hearing on the project in January. Reporting in Hartford, Deborah Bogsty, NBC Connecticut News.
New Haven Mayor Tony Harp is celebrating the city's financial health. At a news conference today, Harp said New Haven has an operating budget surplus of nearly $5 million. She says it came from refinancing outstanding bonds and recurring revenue sources.
We can now tell you the city finished the 2014 fiscal year on June 30th within its budget. In fact, with an operating surplus of $4.7 million.
Harp says a solid budget is key to making progress in areas like education, safety, and jobs.
He's no father of the year. Up next, what New Haven police say this man was keeping in his daughter's room that got him arrested.
Plus, 4 workers had to be rescued after a trench collapse in New Haven. Why it could have been much worse.
Keisha, we made a run at the all-time temperature record today and will be warm again tomorrow. The official records for interior Connecticut are kept right here where you're looking, Bradley International Airport. 78 today. The record remains 81. Your first alert forecast timing a pretty significant rainstorm coming up.
Tomorrow on NBC Connecticut Today.
Good morning. I'm Todd Pyro.
And I'm Shirley Chan.
Get breaking news and stories from around the state. Plan your commute and find out about the weather with your first alert forecast. Wake up with NBC Connecticut Today.
This fall, your NBC Connecticut troubleshooters alerted you to predatory loans, how some police departments are withholding arrest information, and shared warnings about a smartphone upgrade. What's your story? Contact the NBC Connecticut troubleshooters today.
This is NBC Connecticut News.
We continue new at 6 with a New Haven father under arrest after his 5-year-old daughter found a gun under her pillow. Police say the girl told her mother about it after staying at her dad's house last week. Officers say they found the illegal gun and drugs mixed in with toys at Shaquan Hayes' home. Hayes, a convicted felon, faces several drug and weapons charges as well as risk of injury.
3 months after a serious fall, State Senator Andrew Maynard remains hospitalized, and he's still running for re-election. Maynard has represented the state's southeastern corner since 2006. He suffered a serious brain injury in the fall at his home in Stonington, and that has voters wondering out loud whether he's capable of serving.
He was very, very severely injured, obviously, and that's going to impact what his abilities are in the future, and I don't think we know enough about that yet.
Maynard has a few lawn signs up, but can't physically campaign. His Republican opponent, Kevin Trejo, told our Doug Green he was too busy for an interview this afternoon.
4 construction workers narrowly escaped today after the trench they were working in collapsed. It happened this morning on Wintergreen Avenue in New Haven. That's on the campus of Southern Connecticut State University. The men were working on a state project, authorities say, to replace a high-temperature water line. 3 of the men were able to get out of the trench on their own. The 4th had to be rescued by firefighters. All were taken to the hospital but are expected to be okay.
These very, very lucky individuals. It could have been a lot worse. The safety factors in here, what we call a spoil pile, that's all the soil that's removed from the trench itself should be pushed back.
The cause of that trench collapse is under investigation. OSHA is now investigating.
A big surprise for a deserving student.
It's another wish granted by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Today, this student was awarded money to go to college. That story's coming up.
And it felt a little bit like summer today as you check out this live view of the clouds over New Haven. How long will the warmth last? Brad has your first alert forecast coming up.
Download the NBC Connecticut News app to your smartphone today.
We continue with a dream come true for a Southern Connecticut State University student, thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. She wanted help paying for college.
But today she got a lot more than that. New Haven Bureau reporter Amanda Rouse joins us with how the Make-A-Wish Foundation is making a difference. Amanda.
Well, Keisha, Jerry, she could have picked anything, but for that Southern freshman, she wanted and wished for an education. Today, her wish was granted.
With a hug and an overwhelming show of support, Annabelle Goslin got the wish she was hoping for.
Just wow, like I can't believe that everyone came together for me. It was just so surprising.
Annabelle, who was fighting a malignant tumor in her head, asked the Make-A-Wish Foundation to help her attend Southern Connecticut State University. She was awarded about $7,500 toward her tuition, along with other university necessities like a new computer, an iPad mini donated by Covidian, an agenda book from one of the campus sororities, and a debit card to get books and decked out in Southern gear. Make-A-Wish says Southern was a big help.
When she decided on her wish, it was August, and she wanted to get going in September. So it was, they really opened some doors.
Southern says it was just honored to be involved in the process and honored that Annabelle chose Southern.
This is a woman who, was willing to put her big wish in something like this, not to meet the famous entertainers or to travel to Las Vegas, but to really see a future for herself and to recognize that that future is in coming to the university.
Annabelle says the choice was easy, and she's looking at majoring in oncology pharmacy.
To me, I just feel like school is a big part of being successful in life, and what I want to do is I want to help people just like me.
And another fun fact for the day, tomorrow is actually Annabelle's birthday, so she has quite a gift that was given to her, and I guess another wish to make on that birthday. Live at our New Haven studios, Amanda Rouse, NBC Connecticut News.
Tomorrow looks like a carbon copy of today. It's going to start off with maybe a little bit of mist and fog and then end up with sort of a partly to mostly cloudy sky, but some nice warm sun beaming through and temperatures moving well up into the 70s. Even in Hartford, 73 or so by lunchtime. So, you know, when we get this kind of warmth this deep into the autumn, definitely have to think we're a little bit on borrowed time, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to the 7-day forecast. Now, as we look at 3D Doppler radar, this is the front that arcs all the way down to Florida, but we are on the eastern side of the front, and that's the warm side, and we're going to stay in the warm sector tonight and tomorrow night. Then the front shifts on top of us during Thursday, and with this tropical connection essentially at that time coming straight up from the Bahamas, we have, I think, fairly significant rainstorm to contend with during the day on Thursday. So it'll have a little bit of a tropical connection. I'll show you that in just a moment. But as we take a look at the satellite view, we've cleared out nicely this afternoon, but with the flow coming off the ocean tonight, the low clouds will develop, the mist and the fog once again. Tomorrow, a duplicate of today, and then on Thursday, this front shifts right on top of us with that rain coming essentially right up the eastern seaboard. So watch exact track as it plays out tonight. The main body of the rain staying to our west overnight tonight. Let the clock play out tomorrow. The main body of the rain staying to our west tomorrow. But tomorrow night, it's a different matter. The rain starts to shift and come up this way. This is from the front, and this is sort of tropical connection, and you notice a lot of the rain just sort of flooding straight up and into southern New England, and that should continue through the day on Thursday, so we could get a substantial rainfall during Thursday. Live pictures from New London, where the sky remains clear, the temperature in the mid-60s, south wind at 8 miles per hour. Your first alert forecast overnight tonight, clouds will increase quite rapidly, the low clouds, and we'll see mist and fog toward daybreak. Temperature between 60 and 65. For tomorrow, we can have some fog and mist around first thing. Mostly cloudy, but that does not preclude that we could get some sun. And when we get some sun, it's warm sun. Temperatures way up into the 70s once again tomorrow. You see Waterbury 76, Norwich is 76. And there's your first alert forecast for the storm on Thursday. Clearing on Friday, a breezy cool down over the upcoming weekend, and then just plain chilly early next week. There are the shoreline temperatures over the next 7 and your weekend recap. I'll work on the forecast during the evening, have the timing of the storm right up to the minute coming up tonight at 11.
All right, thank you, Brad.
You're welcome. There may be two teams in a state of flux, but hey, there's still the Patriots and the Jets. Kev.
They are the 4-2 Pats against the 1-5 Jets, but the way Tom Brady's talking, you can throw the records out this week. We're also talking UConn football and maybe the play of the year in college football. How a kicker scored a touchdown on a kickoff. Next in sports.
Coming up tonight, the new CDC guidelines on Ebola that they say could have saved lives if they were already in place. The in-flight emergency that led a pilot to land and quickly on a passenger flight last night. And what Apple and Facebook are doing for their female employees that is an industry first. That and more when we see you tonight.
On the next Access Hollywood.
More intimate Taylor Swift. Her closely guarded revelation about a harrowing snowmobile accident.
I try not to go into too much detail with it.
Next Access Hollywood.
Tonight at 7:30 on NBC Connecticut.
From the first frost through the first snow, NBC Connecticut's First Alert Weather Team is committed to keeping you prepared. Follow your forecast on our app, on air and online. Accurate, reliable, and immediate information from the NBC Connecticut First Alert Weather Team.
Sports Desk is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
So the Patriots look to offset two huge losses with a win after losing key players, Jared Mayo and Stephen Ridley, for the season. The 4-2 first-place Patriots host the struggling 1-5 last-place Jets Thursday night in Foxborough. But the Pats are not overlooking their division rivals. Tom Brady knows the Jets and coach Rex Ryan often save their best football for New England.
And, you know, we've had our fair share of good games. He's had his fair share of good games. So it makes for a great matchup. They're a great rivalry. We've had a lot of meaningful games with them. Ever since I got here, it's always been fun playing the Jets. So this week will be no different.
We're throwing our record out the door. You know, we're trying to start fresh. This is our season starting right now, and you know, we get to play in front of the national stage on Thursday night against a division opponent. You know, this is our first chance to go against a team in our division, against a team that it's well documented that we don't get along with very well, and so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Like the Jets, UConn football off to a 1-5 start. The Huskies have a very unusual October schedule. Just 2 games this month and only 1 over a 25-day period. UConn visits nationally ranked East Carolina a week from Thursday, trying to put Saturday's 12-3 loss at Tulane behind them. UConn's defense is playing very well while the offense has struggled mightily. But the Huskies say they won't let that divide the team.
No, not at all. Both sides got things to work on. There's no pointing fingers. You know, we just got to come together and keep working as a family. You know, once you start doing that, things are just going to go downhill. So we'll stay together and keep working.
How hard is this, a 1-5 start?
It's pretty tough, especially with the expectations we have for ourselves going into the season. But we've made improvements as a team. Life coaches has preached to us. This is kind of like a rebuilding process for this whole program, and changing the culture is always hard for a new coach coming in. I mean, I've been around for a few, so we'll keep working and things will improve.
Just 1 day to go to vote for this week's high school football game of the week. Of the 8 teams in the mix this week, Berlin, Ansonia, and Newtown all remain unbeaten and will be in the CIAC playoffs if the season ended today. To vote, go to our NBC Connecticut Facebook page. Well, the PGA of America is tired of getting crushed in the Ryder Cup. So what are they going to do? They're forming a task force to kind of shake things up. The task force includes Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods. And finally, this may be the college play of the year in football. On Saturday, Dayton kicker William Will shows where there's a will, there's a way. Will recovers his own kickoff against Marist and takes it in for a touchdown. You got to be kidding me. Dayton would go on to win the game 31-21. NLCS Game 3, Giants and Cardinals are tied at 4 in the 7th. And a shout out to Brad's son, Connor Field, Jr. at Granby, leads the state in rushing 3 straight 300-yard games. How about that?
As his brother Kurt put it, the guy is an animal.
He is an animal.
Thanks, Kev.
We'll be back with a final look at your first alert forecast as you take a live look at Hartford.
All right, when the kids head out to the bus stop tomorrow, it'll be very similar to today. There'll be a lot of low clouds. There can be some patches of mist and fog around, but it is going to be just plain mild. It's going to stay in the 60s all night tonight, so it's going to seem like a summer-type night across Connecticut. And we are in the middle of peak foliage across our state. This is a picture from Andover. Thank you, Karen, for sharing that with us.
Lots of ladybugs out, brought out by the warm weather, aren't they?
Oh, they were all over the place.
Yeah.
I had our neighbors in our neighborhood were profusely complaining.
I was noticing on Facebook that people are complaining they stink, but I've never smelled a ladybug.
I've never gotten that close, no.
Really? No, I've never.
Looking at them through the window.
No, I'm going to keep my distance.
On that note, enjoy dinner. We'll see you back here tonight at 11.